Hi everybody, welcome to Fossil Hunting and Collecting with Chris. In this video I'm going to do something a little bit different. Most of the other videos we got permission to go on a field trip or got together with a group of friends who knew of some places and went on some one-day or two-day fossil collecting adventures. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be telling you the story of friends of ours who have been letting us collect fossils on their property. And what is really unusual about these fossils, especially on the eastern side of the US, is that these rocks have dinosaur prints in them. Oh, and now for my plug. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. Better yet, hit the subscribe button below. The subscribe button doesn't cost anything. It just makes these hunting and collecting fossil type videos show up more on the YouTube feed. Lets the whole world know they're worthwhile. I hope they are. If you like it, let me know or comment. I always get back to the people who comment on my videos. So, without further ado, please take a look at these fabulous dinosaur fossils we've been able to excavate thanks to our friends Gary and Lori up in Massachusetts. Over the past 15 years or so, our friends have let my kids and I go up there and break through the rocks. Now the rocks are in very big, heavy slabs, so we had to use a number of different methods to actually pry them up. And because they're dinosaur prints, we want to get them up in large slabs. It's great if you have a print on a slab of rock, but it's much better if you have a sequence of prints in a large rock, because this tells you a lot more about the animal. It tells you the direction it was going. We can actually use the space between the dinosaur prints and the size of the prints themselves to determine how big the dinosaur was, how heavy it was, and how fast it's going. Well, that requires some explanation. How do we know how big a dinosaur was, how fast it was running, how heavy it was, just by looking at footprints? Well, turns out you need two or more. Can't be just one footprint, but that tells us a lot. Over here, this carpeting is a replica of a trackway on Route 5 in Massachusetts. The footprints are the exact same size and shape and positions of the one found on Route 5. It turns out with theropod dinosaurs, these three-toed dinosaurs are theropods. With theropod dinosaurs, from the known bone structures, their legs are about 4 and 9/10 the size of their foot. So I made this measuring device. Each of these is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, so on, till we get to 4.9. And this will give us an idea of how fast they were going. How does it do that? Well, let me explain. If I were to go down that path, I would actually have to go pretty quickly, fairly quickly, for my feet to come out that distance. So, first guess, is the dinosaur going fast or is it going slow? What do you think? There's actually a twist to this. Because we know the length of the dinosaur legs, we can tell roughly what their stride is. The stride is from one footprint to the next and then the second. So a stride would be basically stepping down twice. So, one stride, 2 stride, 1 foot to the other. Notice they're not very far apart. When I'm walking slowly, my feet are not very far apart. However, when I'm going quickly, my feet are much further apart. So it's the distance between the footprints that let us know how fast it's going. The slower it's walking, the closer together, the further apart, the faster. Well, we said that these dinosaur legs are actually not very far apart. And when we do the math, there's actually some mathematical formulas you can use to calculate what speed they're going when the legs are this tall and the footprints are this far apart. It turns out it was only going about 4 miles an hour. Fairly slow for a dinosaur. So we have these footprints basically in the mud. The dinosaur is going fairly slowly. Well, why do you think it's going slow? Could it be, do you go very quickly in the mud? The dinosaur was walking through mud. It might be going slowly simply because it was going through the mud. Didn't want to slip and fall down. Maybe the feet were getting stuck in. And it's the mud itself that made these prints possible in the first place. Made the footprints. Footprints hardened. Footprints were buried. The footprints hardened over millions of years. It turned out there were some volcanoes later that protected the rock beneath it, so it did not erode to hundreds of millions of years later, and now this is why we see those in Connecticut and Massachusetts, in various areas where the rocks have been exposed, particularly the Connecticut Valley and the Deerfield Valley of Massachusetts. Most of the dinosaur prints that we find on this property are theropods. They are the typical three-toed dinosaur predator prints that you find. Why there are so many predators and not very much prey, we're not really sure. It looks like the ancient environment was a lake bed that dried out frequently. As it dried out, it was easy for the dinosaurs to leave footprints, and these footprints got buried, and over time new layers formed on top of them, maybe new layers with even more prints, and as they got buried deeper over time, some of these layers hardened undisturbed, and these are why these prints are preserved. From roughly 210 million years ago, the beginning, or at least early Jurassic, onwards, we find these prints. Most of these prints are called Growlulator. They are a mid-sized theropod dinosaur print. We don't know exactly what made them. It's speculated that it might be a Dilophosaur, a very large predatory dinosaur known for a pair of crests on its head. That seems to be the top predator found in this area. However, the prints and the bones are almost never found together because it's a completely different type of preservation that protects the bones and another type of preservation that causes the footprints to harden. So we very rarely find these together. So because of this, and in this case never found them together, we can't say for sure that these three-toed prints are Dilophosaur. But we give the prints their own name, Growlulator. Now you'll also see, eventually I do find a much larger one called the Eubrontes, which is, once again, a footprint that has its own name because we can't say for sure what it is, but it looks like this is probably from a giant Dilophosaur from the early Jurassic. So we are very grateful to our friends Gary and Lori for letting us come onto their property and letting us collect these prints. When we do collect the prints, it's done by their permission only. They've been very gracious, let us have some really nice things. Some of the things have been determined that we found over the years have been determined to be of scientific importance, and of course those leave for Gary. Gary has affiliations with University of Connecticut and other paleontologists who come to visit his property. So anything scientifically important, of course, we much rather they study it and learn everything that they can from it. There is a nice trackway that I've excavated, and I'm hoping to publish this myself. I've carefully recorded everything, positions of the prints, the degrees, the direction, everything all the data that helps us tell us about what was going on with these dinosaurs. So look forward to a scientific publication that I hope to put out. So we are very grateful to Gary and Lori for letting us come on their property, for working with us out there, enjoying lunches together, working out there on the rocks on their property, and really appreciating all the deep time that we've learned from, my children have learned from, all the great times that we've had there. So thank you so much, Gary and Lori, for making this possible for us. And I'd like to share the story. Once again, not a single field trip, but a ongoing experience where we've done a lot of work on their property and made some nice discoveries over the years. So why don't you take a look? Hopefully you'll see some of the things that we found and enjoy them as much as we do. Thank you. Today I'm at the Gauldin Trackway in Massachusetts, owner Gary Gauldin, and we're working on opening up these layers of sedimentary rock about the range of about 210 million years old that have dinosaur tracks. We pulled up a big slab right over here and last time, and unfortunately I didn't think to film us lifting up this big slab. So today I'm lifting up a small slab. Hopefully later on there'll be a larger one to pull up. Okay, put a couple of chisels in, a nice large pry bar. You can take a look before I lift it. The slab is actually broken in half. There's another layer that's separated. And that's actually good because it gives, once we get this whole thing up, it's going to give us twice the amount of surface area, so twice the chance of finding dinosaur tracks. They usually are fairly large, so you want to get large slabs. And there is also the possibility it could be a trackway, which is another reason why you want to get large slabs. So I'm going to pull this up. It's like the bottom layer is coming out, but it's separated. So now I'm going to stop. I think I can pull it up at this point, and we will see what's under here for the first time in over 200 million years. Oh. The problem with these small slabs is they break easy. Okay, we have some really nice mud cracks. These mud cracks are formed when this lake bed, this used to be a lake bed, dried out. Don't see anything that might be a track, but a really beautiful example of these mud cracks. Okay. This first area here looks like it's going to be very hard and not very promising, so we decided to move right over to the side. There's a very big slab over here. Looks like it's ready to come up. We stuck two very large pry bars in, and now a jack from a car. The jack from the car will give us a lot of leverage, hopefully help us lift the whole thing up, which probably weighs 800 or 900 pounds maybe. But with the help of the jack, we'll get this whole layer up and we'll get to see what's on both sides. So far the jack is working pretty well. You hear the cracking? Yeah. Okay, we reached the limit of the jack. I just stick something in and maybe try it from a different spot.
All right,
here we go.
All right.
Okay, slab. Whoa. There we go, new slab. Hasn't seen the light of day. 200 million years. But in this case, it looks like it's another rock. Don't see very much on it at this point.
Rolling.
Another slab that doesn't look like it has anything, but that's mostly what fossil hunting is.
I see nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Okay, our last chance before we have to dig out some more material. This one's stuck under some roots. Watch for a second, I gotta move my foot.
We have a print right
We do?
there, but it's nothing to write home about or write a paper about.
I've got to let this down. All right, after many hours work, we lifted up one slab, didn't find anything. We pulled up another slab now. Crowbars underneath. Going underneath caused it to split into several layers. And we're hoping there's going to be some fossils in these layers. Looking for a spot to lift it from.
Let me know if you need help.
Okay. Ah, here we go.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. We got a nice flat layer.
Yes, we did get a flat layer. And I see a lot of mud cracks. Question is, are there any fossils?
Oh, what's that? Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What the heck is it? I haven't seen that before.
Is that a tiny print maybe, or is it something completely different?
Oh, I don't know. But at least we found something today.
Yes. All right.
When we flipped it over and rested it on its back, we found these pieces. They came off very easily, and there's the way it would have been on the ground. And we found this here, which indicates we have a print. We have the main toe here. Looks like one off to the side, and here it's all modeled up and connected, as happens when you hit a print. It'll split all the way around the outside nice and easy, but right where the print is, it likes to tack itself together and give you a little bit of trouble, which is actually okay if there's a print there, because then you know your work is
It's worth the trouble.
effort. Yes, exactly. At least you know you're chiseling into something worth something. But anyway, at least we didn't completely find nothing today. We're
Yes, we
doing
did
good
not
so
strike
far.
out. I'm very happy.
And then we have all this to go through from that breaking up, you know, going into plates, from lifting up a large piece at a time, about 4 inches thick, which kind of bending it this way causes the plates to break apart, and they kind of break off in nice easy layers. We can just lift them up and, like we're doing now, just sort through it and look for prints, as opposed to going one thin layer at a time, which can take forever.
Yes.
So we're using the brute force method. Just lift up a whole bunch at a time and sort through what you got when it all breaks apart.
We were putting these large crowbars under the rock, and then using the jack to force up the crowbars, which we lifted up from the bottom.
Yeah.
So much about these prints. In this case, the lower print, the upper print, the top that was facing down, is standing out very well. That's how we first noticed it. The matching half actually is not quite as clear, partly because of the way that the rock broke. So sometimes if you just see like this smudge on a rock, you might not recognize that as a print. But when we see the other half that matches to it, it's much more clear what it is. Mud cracks. It reminds me of this place down in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Went to, had all these mud cracks.
Was that in actual mud or in fossil rock?
No, in fossil rock.
Ah.
I was with
this. Have you ever seen that woman that advertises on the computer? Well, I don't know, years and years ago. She'd run trips.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking about.
Well, so I went on this trip, and it was down near down Pennsylvania, near one of the Civil War sites, Gettysburg, maybe.
Yes, okay, yeah. There are also dinosaur prints around Gettysburg.
Yeah, and all I remember finding most of was cracks, mud cracks. And we'd collect some of them, and I took a whole big plate of it home. Used it for back step on my porch down in Greenway. Still sits there. But all it was mud cracks that I knew. Maybe it was dinosaur tracks.
Well, I mean, are you starting to see the dinosaur tracks now after being familiar with this?
Oh, are you taping this?
Yes.
Well, I'm starting to see, yes, I am starting to see dinosaur tracks.
Awesome.
Actually, I think I'm probably about maybe 4 steps away from actually seeing the dinosaur standing there. I think I'm sneaking up on him.
You gotta be a little bit more quick, about 210 million years quicker.
Hello class, over here found a couple of dinosaur prints. One right over here, another over here. We actually found them last week, but took the top half out a couple of weeks ago. And now sorting out the bottom. We don't want it to break as it's because it's underneath all this other rock. If I pull it up, it'll shatter. So I'm cutting the side where the rock overlaps. Notice all the butter knives that's stuck under here. It takes a lot of knives, a lot of little chisels to separate the rock, but putting a lot in will help it all come up in one piece. And the idea is, because these are dinosaur prints, you don't want to break them into a million pieces. If I can get this whole rock up in one piece, it'll be a very nice little slab. I noticed these other prints underneath the slab. So
Can I show the prints on this slab again?
Okay, so over here, one dinosaur print, another one here is covered with dust, and a partial one over here. Looks like a tiny one over here too. And then there's other dinosaur prints underneath in the next layer. And the top half of this is at home because that was what I excavated about 2 weeks ago. Thank you. And at this point, I really must say thank you to Debbie, my wife, for not only her help with getting these giant footprints out of the car, but for being a part of these fossil adventures with me all these years. Thank you, Debbie. Alright, so right now we're diagnosing Ray's rocks, which
And later we'll diagnose Ray.
So we're looking for dinosaur prints. This is some of those rocks from Massachusetts, and I see one right over here. So if you see the print right over here, I'll go ahead and mark it for you.
Yep.
So right over here, we have a really nice print. Now this is a print which is sticking outwards because the rock is actually upside down right now. So we're looking at something that was pressed into the mud, but we're looking at it from upside down right now. It's a theropod.
I do see that.
Good.
That's a sauropod?
Theropod.
Theropod.
It's a. They think that up in Massachusetts, Dilophosaurs were running around. So that's probably what it is. We can't say for sure because they don't find the bones and the prints together in the same type of preservation. So definitely one there. This, oh, looks like another one here. Something else going on here. but it's partial. Whatever's looks like it's damaged or destroyed. The rest you can't see too well. This looks like another toe, so this is something going the other way. And it might be that they're stepping on their own prints, and that's why it's a bit damaged. It looks like there's another one going this way. The toe print. Yeah, so this slab is definitely multiple prints. At least 3 are showing. That might be a weak print. We're looking at it once again upside down. Do you know what's on the other side of this?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. Okay. See a toe on this one. That's all it's really showing. So a couple of raindrops, some mud patterns. If you peel this up, there's a very good chance you're going to see more. So with this one print, there's very often.
Do you want to peel it up?
No,
You want to look the other side first, right?
Let's look at the other sides first. Yes.
What's the other side of that one?
Both of them.
Oh, I see a toe already.
Going inwards?
Isn't that one? Maybe not.
Might be. Could be. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might be one print going this way and the other stepped on it. It's going that way. It looks like something going on, but it's a little bit messed up. Hard to say for sure. I don't see a whole lot on this side except for that.
Yeah, and that's not what we're talking about. So on the other side, you said peel it up. Do we want to do that now?
That's your choice.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. As long as you're willing to take the time, we do it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so Ray's opening this up.
Big piece, nice.
Well, yes, you want to get a lot of. The more you pick up, the more surface area, the more chance for good prints.
We're gonna be done, do we?
A little bit more. Oh, yeah. A little bit more over if you can.
Okay, looks like it's ready to come up.
Well, it looks like that's coming off. Probably right where the footprint is.
They tend to stick to each other in the footprints. So that's something to watch out for. Okay, the unveiling.
Ta-da!
Yes, it's rock. That looks very interesting. I'll check that out more closely in a moment.
I think that looks like corporate money.
I think you have maybe partials, but nothing earth-shattering. So I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Dinosaur Prints. Take a look at part 2. In part 2, we're going to be doing some more excavations with some more paleontologists and our good friends Gary and Lori, and we're going to make some more finds. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, awesome fossil hunters.